I wasn't 100% sure why. I just knew they had to get a hold of the main character for some reason. And we've lost all of our audience now, and no one's listening anymore.
Hey, it's your guy Ren. Welcome to Cinema Slime, a podcast for film lovers who can't stop talking about the movies that move us, confuse us, or just make us want to yell at the screen. I'm joined, as always, by my brilliant co-hosts Harrison and Scott. Let's go.
It's a great looking elbow.
Sexiest weenus you've seen all day.
Nice weenus, bro.
nice weenus, bro. I think every boy needs to go, just everyone on the planet needs to go through the moment when they learn that part of your elbow is called the weenus. I think everybody just needs
my
to
boys
experience
just entered that phase. I didn't learn that till high school.
Kids are getting older and older every day. That's actually the measuring stick. They keep track of when kids figure out the word weenus. That's what determines everyone's age.
This is a step just before losing all of your, like, everything's sweet about you when you're a kid. the phase that all of Scott's kids are in right now.
Oh boy.
That's immediately going to end once the word weenus enters there.
You just turn into this like body of just anger and pissiness.
Yep. Well, we had a good weekend, man. That was really fun at the beach house.
Yeah, we did. Just for the audience, we went out to Manzanita and as a family, and we got to hang out with each other. We went out to South Shore. Is that what the beach was?
Oswald Park.
Yeah, Oswald Park and everything.
South Sands, I think.
Yeah, sounds
South
right.
Sands. Yeah. Went out there, played in the water, got to meet a really awesome dog named Whiskey. That was just running.
Awesome. What's his name? What was his name? Whiskey Sour or Whiskey Jack or?
Yeah, I think it was Whiskey Jack. And this dog was just walking around up to everybody, just licking them and just being so chill and so kind. It was just like, hey, I'm here. You should pet me and I'll make you laugh and make you smile and bring you joy. It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah. It was a very Oregon day on the beach, and it was cool. Our sister, your sister-in-law Talia, and her husband Ammon flew in, and Ammon was like the first one to take his shirt off and run into the ocean because he's from like Utah where there's no ocean. And I was like, all right, so I joined him, and then I looked behind us, and Scott's little guy Dodger was following us, and we had heard about some sneaker wave warnings. And sure enough, dude, it came up. It was like swelling all the water back. And we all started booking it. And I was like 4 feet behind Dodger. And he was just running as fast as he possibly could. It looked like Ponyo on top of the salmon fish.
Yeah.
And then he took a slight misstep. And he just like face first rolled. Probably didn't even blink. And he just got right, but yeah, the water swept him up, and he got out, and it was amazing. But didn't shed a tear. He was like all into it. It was awesome.
No, yeah, my son Jamie had a pretty similar experience. He just kind of like went with it. He just like laid sideways, and I was like, "All right, let's do it," and just kept like.
I was front row for that too. Yeah.
No, it was great. It was a great little trip to the beach.
Nothing beats like around the fireplace at night either.
Straight up.
That's like the best.
What was it? I wore the Oregon the typical Oregon coast outfit where you have a shirt, a hoodie on, but you're wearing shorts and you're wearing flip flops.
Yeah,
and you got your hoodie up all scrolled up, but your legs are just totally exposed, and it's just like what? It's like a half and half thing. It's the way the Oregon coast is.
That way you can walk through all the water and stuff, and just like feel the cold like cramp your calves up. It's so cold, but.
Just get sand in your leg hair. It's so fun.
Never goes out.
Growing up, I was like, I like the Oregon coast because I grew up here and everything. But I always had this idea that like tropical beaches or like Destin in Florida, they just pristine, perfect beaches and stuff were going to be so much better. But a couple of years ago, we like went to Hawaii, and I was like, these beaches suck. And then I went to Florida a couple of years after that, and I was like, this is the most boring beach I've ever been in my life. The waves do nothing. All you do is just like be hot on the beach. And like, I'm like, what do you do? Like, I don't know. I'm used to like walking around, finding interesting things, exploring, climbing up the rocks and stuff. And it's not like you don't go to the beach, you go to the coast here. So I don't know what to do at the beach. I know what to do at the coast. So I think I'm fully entrenched in the I'm very pretentious about my Oregon coast now.
No, it's true. Like, yeah, as soon as I get onto a beach, I'm just like, okay, where's the exploration area? Like, which end of the beach do I go to dig for newts and to climb on rocks and possibly fall into the ocean, and never be seen again? I want that.
Run into Bigfoot.
Yeah.
I think my whole life, I've always like Hawaii just stands up on this tall mountain in your mind of just like paradise, the greatest place on earth. And to this day, I believe Poipu Beach is one of those places, but I did not have an appreciation for the Oregon coast until I first went to Hawaii. And then I came back home. And it was really awesome. It really opened my eyes because, like, dude, the first time I went to Hawaii, I went to Maui, and it was like going like literally to like Jurassic Park, like another world, because every bug is different. So many fish you'd never seen, the underwater life, everything, the coral, everything was just so amazing. But then when I came home, I was like, this is the same thing as Hawaii. It's just a different style. Like, it's just as green. Yeah, it's cold. But I'm just saying, like, the greenery and the plant life and the flora, the fauna, all that stuff, like, and all the deer here and the moose, the elk, whatever. I just really, it took me a while to understand how awesome it is here.
Yeah, don't get me wrong.
It sucks.
I definitely used my judgy words.
Yeah.
But I had a similar experience where we went to Hawaii and it was like, wow, this place is gorgeous. And then I came back home and was driving through like the Cascade Range in between here and the coast, you know, and I was like, this is honestly just as beautiful as Hawaii, as Kauai. It's just different trees, but just as big, just as wet.
Yeah.
You know?
No, yeah. You know, honestly, anytime I go outside of Oregon, go up to Washington, I went to Vegas this year. Every time I go a place, I'm just like, God, the world is so yellow outside of Oregon. Like, it's just desert,
dry,
and really dry sagebrush. That's all it is. So whenever I come back from vacation or trips or whatever, I come back, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I feel like I can breathe like better. I just feel better here.
Don't let the color grading on movies that are filmed here in the Pacific Northwest fool you. It does not feel gray like that.
Yeah, not all the time.
We don't literally live in Twilight Forks. We don't live in
all
in the
time.
ring all the time. It's not like perpetually blue and gray. There is in fact way more green here than any other color.
No, I'm sure movies filmed. It's like movies that are filmed in like New Mexico. Everything's just like, what's that? It's like that yellowy, like I don't know, green or something. Yeah, it's like that tone. It's just like, oh, must be filmed in New Mexico. It is. What was it? I remember growing up, I was playing Fallout 3 a ton. It was probably one of my favorite games, and that game has this like green tinge to it all throughout the whole entire game. And I remember when I went back to play it one time, I found a mod that got rid of that green tinge. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this game is so much better now. Like, it doesn't all look exactly the same. There's actually like depth to everything.
But there was less radioactivity. Like, didn't that just break the fourth wall for you?
That's true. Actually, it confused me because then I would just walk into these radioactive areas and I would just start getting rads. And I'm just like, what the hell? Like, there's no warning. Like, they should color it green so I know where it is.
It's a feature, not a bug.
Speaking of different color palettes, how about a movie with 12 different
12 different color palettes?
Oh, see, mine was, speaking of sepia.
There you go.
I told you he ain't good.
Pull on your poncho and grab the reins for a journey through the American West. This psychedelic animated western follows two drifters, Frank and Linde, on a quest that defies all logic.
Don't be so sure.
Sometimes a coincidence is the opposite of a coincidence.
If we can stop them now, this will be their last time.
On the trail of a mysterious musician, their journey soon unravels into a reality-bending odyssey, where the very laws of physics break down.
Life is just a long series of eliminations, which you don't want.
Memories change all the time, unless... Unless what? Unless you record it.
Forgetting the past don't make it go away. But remembering it can stop it from repeating.
Well, there it is. The simple event is now made complicated.
Using a stunning mix of rotoscoped animation and watercolor effects, the film serves as a hypnotic and philosophical meditation on fate, free will, and the very fabric of existence. a truly unique and genre-defying cinematic experience. This is Geoff Marslett's 2022 film, Quantum Cowboys.
All right, Harrison, this was on your list, and I think I know the origin of how it became on your list.
Most definitely. So I think I'm having more success with these Reddit recommendations this time because this one is actually a time travel movie.
Debatable. We'll get to that.
We'll see how it goes. This movie is interesting. I think this is one of the more interesting movies we've watched and are about to talk about.
Can I just say, it's been a while since we recorded, and I've been really looking forward to talking about this for like quite a while. Like, I'm kind of excited.
No, me too. So this is just 100% a recommendation I found on Reddit. I read up the little blurb on it, and I was like, okay, like there's a bunch of different art styles in this film. There's a bunch. It's a timey-wimey type of a film, and I was like, you know what? Sounds really unique. Sounds a little different. I'm excited. Let's throw it on the list. And when it got selected, I was actually really, really excited about it. And I'm glad that it got picked. I'm very glad this got picked because one thing we'll get a little more into the nitty-gritty about this film, but the one thing I really found interesting about this film is compared to the other time travel movies that we've watched, this one actually has rules and it actually lays out those rules. And I found that really cool.
That is so in your wheelhouse. You're just like, oh, rules, they follow.
No, it's so dude. There's nothing better than a really nice, well-organized list. I'm telling you. So, but no, overall, my experience watching this film. So I think just to get right to it, I think this film has a really amazing and interesting concept. I don't think the film is absolutely incredible, but I think the concept of it is very strong and really cool to think about. So I watched this movie, I think 3 times because the first time I messed up on one of the rules. I wrote down the rules as they showed up. I wrote one of them wrong. So I watched the whole film wrong. And so then I had to read through the rules again and then watch the film again. I was like, okay, now I get it. I mean, I still don't 100% get it, but I have a better understanding of it.
I'm surprised you liked it because this is like the ultimate stoner movie.
It's true. It's such a trip, and like I said, like it's weird. This is so weird because this isn't a movie I would recommend to anyone watching, but I watched it 3 times, and I'm glad. And every time I watched it, I was like, okay, I'm excited to watch this and figure more out about this movie.
I had an interesting viewing. Like I found myself really into it for about, the first 20-30 minutes. And then I just sort of kind of got lost. And then I was like in my head, just having this like monologue. I'm like, okay, just be patient. Like, just let this thing go. It'll all make sense. It'll kind of develop and kind of walk me through this, I guess. And then I think as time went on, I think I just got disoriented. Like I almost got like dizzy. And then I can say like, it's very interesting to watch. I was pretty into it most of the time. I did kind of find myself being a little distracted with all the different types of animation styles. That's not a knock on it, but this is a very unique type of film. Just to be completely honest, when I was done with it, I was sort of satisfied. Mm-hmm. But then I was like, okay, well, I feel like I'm missing something. So I began to watch it again, and I sort of lost my like motivation to watch it again. But then I found myself, I actually picked up the Blu-ray disc at the library, and it comes with like a user manual on the inside, a little booklet, which I was like, okay. So I opened that up. I love it. Yeah,
I love this so much.
What you're talking about. It was like kind of talking about all the rules and like requirements, patience, curiosity, and a sense of humor. And I'm like, okay, maybe I'm taking this a little too seriously. So I started looking at it in a different light. And then next thing I knew, I found myself watching some of the DVD bonus features. And one of them was highlighting the director who used to be a physics professor. And he's just sort of getting up in front of the stage at a premiere of one of the films. And one of the first things he said, it just sort of like made sense to me, but he goes, if you watch this movie and you don't like it, the only thing that means is that you watched a certain type of style of film that you don't like. But I can assure you that everything in the movie is purposeful. There's nothing in this movie is random. This was sort of like a brainchild of mine that I've been thinking on for 7 years. And this is my interpretation of how I believe these certain sets of rules and physics work. And right then I was like, I like this movie so much more now. Like, I think I was just viewing it it's not a traditional film. It's more, this is the most art movie we've watched so far.
I would say this. I watched this film and I wasn't entertained in the way that most movies entertain you.
Yeah.
I was entertained in the fact that it's almost like working on like those wood puzzles where it's like, oh, you have to get the lock off of the wood puzzle. It kind of feel and you spend forever trying to figure out, but then you kind of hit this point where it's like, okay, I've already sunk enough time into this puzzle that I want to figure it out now. And that's kind of what this movie felt like. Like, I'm never going to give this to someone and be like, hey, this is so much fun. You should try and, work on this wood puzzle. Like, I would never give it to anybody. But once you get into it, it's like, I want to figure it out.
Let's see.
And
I was anticipating you like hating this movie. So I'm really happy that you get something out of it.
Yeah, like I said, yeah, I definitely don't hate it, but I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. Unless I was like, hey, do you want to figure something out? Like, do you want to figure out the nuance? Do you want to understand why? Things like that. What about you, Scott? I'm really interested in what you
Scott,
you have
tell
to
us
say
why
about
we're wrong.
this. Yeah, why?
I'm just kidding.
This
No,
movie's
I'm not going to tell
shit.
you how you're wrong. I genuinely hated this movie. This goes down as the most I don't give two F's about this movie that we've watched so far.
I love it.
And it's not because I didn't understand it. I did actually understand it. I picked up all the quantum rules and stuff like that right off the bat. I was like, okay. I mean, honestly, the movie started out really strong. It laid out the rules and stuff, and I was like, great. And I'll either say a ton about this movie or basically nothing about this movie because I have thought a lot about it, and I like raged about this in my head for like 4 days, and it messed with me. And I burned out the fire, so I can say a lot. Really, I just don't think there's much worth saying.
Really?
Yeah.
It's funny that I feel like that what I was talking about, like seeing the director kind of present his case for it, really, like if I didn't see that clip, I would be to where you are right now. Because at the end, I was just like, did I just like, there were so many like long, kind of just boring scenes. This movie was really highlighted as like it won some award for like best music. You can't find the soundtrack anywhere. Like I wanted to listen to it. I just found myself, I guess just wanting a little bit more, kind of like button it up a little bit better or something. I don't know.
And let me be super clear. I think the movie's fine. Like it's exactly what I expected it to be. Super art house. I mean, the different art styles and stuff, they're fine. they're fine. Like quirky and all that jazz. I think all of the decisions that the director made, that's the power of film. Like power to you. I don't have any negative things to say about the way the movie was made. I just think that the philosophy behind what made the movie, what Geoff Marslett was trying to say, is not
interesting.
Has no depth. Like it's like a negative thing for the world. He presented it well. I just don't think it was worth saying. And I wish that it had not been said.
Wow, man, this is so interesting because at the end of this film, after my first viewing, I sat down and I wrote down like, what are some lessons I learned from this film? And I actually wrote down like 7 different things that I learned from this film. This is interesting. I like this a lot. Okay. So here, just real quick, how about we do this? What was the scene that made you go, what the hell am I watching? Because I had one. The one that, let's see, hold on, let me make sure I get it right. The one that really made me go like, what is going on? It's the scene where they walk into the bar and there's this weird like guitar like playoff, and like this gal like comes out of one of the motel rooms or something, and she has her pistol like rubbing up against the guitar, and then both the guitars are getting louder and louder and louder. And then the guy, I can't even remember what his purpose was, like jumps up and is like, what the hell is going on? And like, that was the scene that I was like, I don't even know what's going on. Then there's like the drunk high priest like walking through the town, and there's a car in the background for some reason. And like, that's the scene that made me I was like, I don't even know what this is, which is, it's almost frustrating because like you were talking about, Ren, with the director coming up and be like, no, every scene does have a purpose. That's a scene I'm like, I don't know what the purpose is at all.
Yeah, explain that one, please.
Nah, yeah, that's the one I can't explain at all. I mean, honestly, there's a lot of scenes I can't explain, but it's still the reason why the film was so interesting to me was because I had a set of rules that I had in my head as I was watching the film, and I was applying those rules in every single scene that popped up.
I just like the peyote scene when he's just tripping out, walking through the desert. I thought that
Yeah.
was really visually really cool. But it's funny, like the whole movie just sort of blends together. And I think I mentioned this, but like I tried to watch it twice and I just felt like I had seen it already because it sort of revolves into itself already when you watch it. So I didn't really feel like I had to rewatch it. I don't know.
Which is funny because it's a loop, and so I guess that kind of goes along with your thought. It's like, wait, it's a loop, so it all blends together. What about you, Scott? Was there anything that made you angry?
No, not really. Like, I thought there was one scene that I was like, that's really funny to me. Like, just imagining actually filming the scene and then doing the post-production on it and stuff. There's a scene where the crazy drunk priest is walking with the two main characters down the road, and it starts with the priest, but then it's like explaining, it's like, then they kind of like woke up from a dream, and it's like the priest is there to explain the rules for them, so they had, that whatever that scene was. But they're just like standing there pretending to walk.
Yeah.
Yes.
and then they got to where they were going, and then they like did walk off camera, but it was like the whole background was moving, and I was like, that is the funniest. Like, I would love to have just been the person editing that scene. Like,
yeah,
this is great. I love this.
We were talking a little bit over the weekend, but like Blu-ray, like quality movies are like unbelievable, but sometimes lately I've been finding that they kind of take me out of the movie at times because you just kind of feel like you're watching some actors act in front of a camera, like on your TV. And like they're just kind of sitting there. And anyways, this movie has that like times 10. Like I really like, it's all blue screen, which is fine for the type of style and just the style that they made the film in. But I found myself pretty distracted by that.
Interesting. Yeah. Honestly, the art style didn't really mess me up because I was applying the rules to every scene and trying to figure out, like, okay, why is this scene so animated, or why is this scene not animated? Why is this, things like that.
So explain this. I have a question. So if you took all the same art styles and put them in linear mode, would that timeline be its own story?
So the implication there is that they're most likely all from one person's specific set of memories, and that they have been created in that specific art style as a way to codify them so that they're tangible. And so, yes, the implication would be that that is one person's specific string of memories linearly presented as they remember it, or not necessarily even as they remember it, but as they remembered it and then created art to make it to make it tangible, to make it permanent.
So here, I thought we can go through the set of rules that the film presents to us.
That's a great segue. Yeah, Harry, take us away.
Yeah. Okay, so here we go. So some of these are laid out right at the very beginning, and some of them come up later in the film through, as sort of this, like, I don't know what you would call him, the old guy and the cat.
The Matrix dude that stands there with all the screens, that guy. Yeah.
He seems like the architect, basically. Yeah. He lays out a couple at the beginning. So the first one is that time travel always creates a world, basically.
Right.
So if there's a change in the timeline, you're going to get a whole separate universe, basically, because of that choice. The next rule is that multiple worlds will extinguish one another. And I found that really interesting because it sort of feels like there's the architect, and I feel like he's almost trying to piece the world together so that there isn't this destruction.
He's trying to make sense of the world.
Yeah, he's trying to make sense of it. He's trying to stop something terrible from happening. That's the vibe I got. Because if these worlds continue to exist separately, they're eventually going to be destroyed, and chaos ensues, basically. The next one, I found this was really just a cool life kind of lesson rule they have, was observation matters because art is the only record of memories. So this kind of goes into there's these three people on this camera crew going throughout the film, and they pop in every now and then. Kind of the rule that I figured out as they were doing it was, if they set up and they film a scene, it turns it into like a quote unquote a true memory. Like If they film it and they observe it, then that sort of sets that event in time, like a permanent thing. You can't change it after they film it. Okay, so that's rule number 3. The fourth one, this is kind of the big one, and I actually mixed these up on my first viewing, so I had to watch it again. So rule number 4 is live memories can change. Animated memories cannot. So when you're watching the film, if you get to a scene where it's live action, that means that scene is not set in stone. It hasn't been set into the timeline as a permanent thing. And like I said, I mixed those up in the beginning. So I was watching it, and every time a live action came up, I was like, okay, so this means this actually happened. But it's actually the opposite of it. The big one for me in this, there's 2 kind of big memories in the film that really stood out in terms of like it being animated or not. There's the very opening scene when our 2 main characters, one of them decides to rob that bank, and then Blackie ends up getting killed, the singer that's up there. That scene is fully animated. There's no sense of live action in it at all. So it's kind of like this keystone memory in this time loop that's set up. The other one that's really big, and it involves the 2 like weird bad guys that are somehow like they're in the film for some reason. So they're all sitting around so this is a live action scene where they're sitting around the campfire. They're sitting around the campfire, and then the bad guys come in and they're trying to basically kidnap them. And that scene is live action because it hasn't been set in stone. That's important because our 2 bad guys that are in the film, they seem to have like come into this timeline knowing they're in a time loop, and they're trying to profit off of being in a time loop or going back in time or something like that. And they need to find a way to get out of the loop. And apparently this memory or this scene is important for them to do that. I wasn't 100% sure why. I just knew they had to get a hold of the main character for some reason. And we've lost all of our audience now, and no one's listening anymore. But we still have more rules to go over.
Yeah, I feel like I hear this all and it kind of makes sense, but like I kind of like can't get myself to really care. Like for like a film, like this seems like too interactive or like too much. It seems like too much work.
See, I find it so like the main rule to remember is that when you're watching a scene, if it's animated, that's set in stone. If it's live action, it's not. And so whenever a scene came up that was live action, it made me go, okay, this is important. This scene right now could change. Something in this scene doesn't fit with the rest of the world. The architect hasn't sent his little camera crew out to record this scene because something needs to change about it.
So once again, I kind of go with Ren because there's like 2 elements to this film, and I respect the quantum mechanics side. That's interesting, and Harrison, I think that's what you're talking about. This is the fun puzzle element to go, do I understand this film? And I think that's fun, right? I think where I agree with Ren, though, is the end of this movie ends with the most postmodern, like, but that's just like your opinion, bro.
Is the ending that is like everyone almost always doesn't get it right? Is that the ending or like
the ending to me is like that final shot of them. So it's like the architect going, well, that's an interesting choice. I guess you just don't have to do that. And then I guess it's different. And then the camera crew going, but I guess if we don't film this scene, then we would just have to set up a different scene. And that was it. Like, there is nothing deeper than that. It was like, so the whole theme of the movie was like, everything's relative, everything's probabilities. So why does it matter that we made a whole movie to talk about that? Why are we puzzling it out? Because there's nothing to puzzle out. It's quantum mechanics. Yes, you have a probability cloud. The minute you observe it, it collapses to a real thing. There we go. That's the whole movie.
So it's like when you hear a conspiracy theory and you're like, I just don't care about
Why does
like, because it could be true, it could not be
so much that you made this.
Yeah.
I feel like you guys didn't play logic puzzles growing up.
Oh, Harrison, I'm a game designer. I played logic puzzles.
So question.
I'm guilty. Yeah.
So here, there was a film that Netflix put out called Bandersnatch. Do you remember that?
I know of it. it's on my list of movies to watch for the reasons you're going to talk about.
Yeah,
the interactivity.
Yeah. So it's a film where, as you're watching it, there's moments in the film where the player, you as the audience member, make a choice in terms of like the very first thing that happens is he goes down. The main character of that film goes down to breakfast, and his dad says something along the lines of like, "Hey, what cereal do you want?" And you pick up your remote and you get to choose which cereal he eats. And then the movie will skip forward and like go to a certain position in the film to show you what happens if he chose to eat that cereal over the other one. So do you find, so for me, like that makes the movie interactive, and this movie felt interactive to me. And I think that's why I found it a little more interesting than you guys, which is totally fine. But I'm just curious, like, would you like that idea? Would you like kind of like almost like a video game that's, because there's tons of video games that are like visual novels where you're kind of just like watching a movie, but you get to interact with it. Like, is that interesting to you guys, or is it like, nah? Like, I'd rather just sit down and watch it.
Yeah, I would totally. I mean, I'm always down for a new experience of some kind. I think that sounds cool.
Yeah.
I have no experience with it. That sounds amazing, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't have a problem with that, but I don't know how that relates to this movie.
Yeah. Well, just the thing is this, like, I feel like this movie felt very interactive to me. Like I said, every single scene that popped up, I took the rules that was set up at the beginning of this film and I applied those rules to the scene because I wanted to figure out what each, like, how important was each scene. Like, it was weird. It was almost like watching the movie with those set of rules was almost like having the director sit next to me the whole time and being like, hey, if you apply these rules, you get to figure out why this scene is important, or if this scene can change, or if this scene is a keystone moment in the film.
That's kind of cool.
So yeah. Ren asked me over the weekend what the definition of pretentious was. And I was like, this movie?
Oh, see, yeah, I didn't find this film pretentious.
So
I did not.
So I defined it basically like as the facade of intellectualism, showing depth where there is none. And I think, Harrison, you just described the perfect idea of pretentious, because once again, if you're getting nothing out of the entire experience other than I had an interesting experience watching it, then I don't think that the movie has value more than like watching, I don't know, Dora the Explorer or like freaking Octonauts or something. Like, it's just as deep. So why? Yeah. Why did I waste my time watching it if there was nothing there? Other than I solved a puzzle. I could do a Sudoku puzzle too.
Well, no, the thing is, see, that's the thing is, I got stuff out of this film. Yeah. Like, at the end of it, I got a life lesson out of it.
Tell me, what did you get as a life lesson out of it?
Prove me wrong. So just the last couple things. No, honestly, it's one of those things that's like, if it didn't hit you, then it didn't hit you. Like, that's totally fine, 100%. But for me, this did bring some interesting thoughts into my head. What were you saying, Ren?
I was just going to, while you look that up, just being around this theme of time travel in general, but after watching this movie, I've been thinking of like alternate timelines a little more than normal. My wife Allie was out getting coffee with a friend. She was telling me this story of how she like got out of her car and kind of off in the distance, some homeless kind of just touched person was kind of like screaming at her. And she was like, oh my gosh, she got really uncomfortable. And she's like, we gotta go. And they like got in the car and like sped off. And I was like, that's so crazy. Because like, let's say you showed up like 5 minutes earlier or 5 minutes late. My mind just started thinking of all these different ways. Like, what if someone would have yelled at someone who would have reacted in a different way? Or maybe like the choice to call the police or not call the police, and how these little choices could just alter everything, if not for your life, for someone else's life, or maybe someone who was passing by and happened to see this and it totally altered their day. And I just think that's probably the only life lesson that I've got from watching this movie, is just from the experience of just like having it open my mind to like how little things do make a difference, and your choices matter, and the choices you don't take also matter. And then also like thinking about this can make you go insane and disoriented. And like I said, that's kind of how I felt when I first watched the movie. I just wanted to share that. I've been really thinking about it more and more in my day-to-day life. But I want to hear kind of what you wrote down of as far as
no, just lessons. Like the things I wrote down, like forgetting the past doesn't make it go away. And I think like that was a line actually in the film. Remembering it can stop it from repeating. That was another one I got. Trying to fix your past mistakes can put you in a loop, and you just need to move on. And that's kind of how I felt watching this film. Like what I got at the end of it was like I spent countless mental hours in my past thinking about just crap that I've done, or or just like my whole teenage life was just guilt about crap I did when I was a teenager. And there was a stretch of time, like around when I got married, that I was still kind of in this past. And, just I was stuck in the time loop, just going it over and over and over and over again. And trying to forget it doesn't make it go away. It's still always there. But what was it I wrote? Like remembering it makes it stop repeating. It kind of just made me think about like the moments that I've had where I've kind of accepted things I've done in my past. It was me thinking about it and accepting that it happened, and then realizing like, oh, I don't have to think about that ever again. So, okay, here's another good one. Okay. This relates to a Bluey episode, which Bluey is an amazing TV show. And I'm sure everyone knows that.
I agree.
But one of the most powerful movie, like I actually talked to my therapist about this episode.
That's so awesome.
It's an episode called Space.
Yeah.
And the main thing that happens in that is Mackenzie, one of the characters, is basically he's trying to simulate a traumatic experience he had as a kid. They're playing a game where they're out in space, they're pretending that, and he keeps telling them like, hey, you need to leave me behind. Like you're gonna leave me behind. I'm gonna leave the spaceship and you're gonna go. And then it teleports back to when he's a kid and has that memory where he goes down a slide and then he can't find his mom and he feels like he's lost. Mackenzie, he goes down the slide and his teacher shows up in this memory and basically says something along the lines of like, hey, you know what's here. You don't need to keep coming back. Like you don't need to keep revisiting this moment again. And that, I mean, I had the most like visceral crying reaction of my entire life during that. And literally like 2 days later, I went to my therapist and I was like, what just happened to me? Because it was such a big moment. And this movie, like I didn't have that, that strong of a reaction to it, but it made me feel that same feeling because they're stuck in this time loop going over and over again. They're trying to solidify. They're trying to, they're trying to fix it to a point where everything that's supposed to happen is going to happen. And it feels, I don't know. It just, that's the feeling it made me feel at the end of it.
So that's interesting because this is like, these things that you're talking about are the themes that every one of the time travel movies we've watched, including Safety Not Guaranteed, are about past regrets.
Yeah, but Safety Not Guaranteed was a crappy movie. It was a quote unquote time travel movie disguised as a romance movie.
Yeah. Each one of those is about revisiting the past and your regrets with those past and what do you do with that information if you can or can't change, and exploring that theme. So I'm interested to know why this movie in particular gave you a visceral reaction and like About Time, which is very on the nose about this exact same theme, didn't.
No, okay. Well, keep in mind, I bawled my eyes out for About Time, but for different reasons. I think the reason this movie hit me just a little bit harder is because there's rules, because it's established. About Time, Safety Not Guaranteed, and Frequency, the time travel element of those films are very casual to me. They're not established. About Time is so casual about its time travel. Like, they don't really explain it at all. They just kind of say like, oh, like we can just time travel now. And that's a cool way to go about it. And it makes it a little more digestible, I think. You're watching the movie, you don't really have to think about the time travel aspect. You're just really stuck in the emotional journey that these characters are going on. But this movie, I watched it and it felt like these time travel moments, like all these scenes, even though they were confusing and something didn't make sense, it still felt like it mattered because the rules were established. Like when I watched this scene, it made me go, okay, this is here for an actual purpose. Like this architect guy watched this scene and decided I need to send out these guys to film this scene so that it's set in stone, that it's a keystone moment in this weird time loop that these characters are in. And it's just the fact that it felt very on purpose. Like I mentioned that a lot of times in this podcast, how making a film on purpose is one of the best ways for me to love a film. And this is one of the films that made it feel like on purpose because the characters are also trying to create this timeline that is made on purpose as well. It's like there's 2 layers of making it on purpose. Anyways, that's why this film, like, I'm not saying like I had this like I'm not gonna go to my therapist tomorrow and be like, I just watched Quantum Cowboys and I need to talk to you about it. Like I said, this film had really confusing and unsure moments. Like I like that lady in the weird like boat sailing across. She was like a siren for the husband or whatever. Like I was like, I don't get it, but I don't understand why this is important. I love the artwork of her. She was very pretty, but I don't understand why this is here, but it's here for a reason. Like the architect decided that's important. I need it to be on film. It has to happen. Hey, everybody, just popping in real quick. If you could hit that like and subscribe button, that would really help us out a lot. But either way, let's get back to the show.
I had a very similar like experience. I think Harrison, one of the main reasons I like time travel and I come back to the rules and stuff like that is actually pretty similar to what you just vocalized. Ren's made fun of this for me for this game as long as we've known each other. Because before Paige and I got married, I moved in with Ren and was his roommate for a couple of months before we got married. And that was like the time when Xbox indie games were like in their peak era with, like Geometry Wars and stuff like that. And there's this game made by Jonathan Blow called Braid. And it's a time travel Mario platformer kind of game.
It's so cool.
And it's like, it's so pretentious. And like, Jonathan Blow would never call himself a philosopher, but that's exactly what he is. And he just creates and enters into the dialectic with games that he makes. And nobody likes his podcasts, but people find his games very well made, but then people argue about his games all the time. So it's like absolute modern day real philosophy expression through games. So anyway, I found the time travel mechanics in that game and the puzzles that the time travel exploration to be really, really interesting. And then there was this layered on like schoolboy regretting things about a past relationship kind of layered into it through just like blocks of text. And it was like super not important to me. And to anybody who's not played Braid, which is probably most people, I'm going to spoil the crap out of the ending. So if that matters to you, plug your ears and go la 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 for a little bit, like a minute or two. All right. So going into spoiling the crap out of this game, because why it matters is like all of the worlds are, like a traditional Mario game. You start in world 1, you go to world 2, 3, 4, 5, stuff like that. In this, you start in world 6 or 5 or something, and you go backwards all the way to world 1. So progressing further in the game, you go all the way to world 1. And so you get to world 1, and the climax of the game is this giant, like, scenario. It's a really long, very difficult to traverse scenario where you enter into the world, and there's your girlfriend that you've been, like, musing over for the whole game. There's your girlfriend, and she's like, help, help, help. And then there's like your girlfriend is standing there, and then this like evil knight person comes down and like steals her. It's like, I've got you. And there's like, help, 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 help. And then he starts running off with her like Donkey Kong carrying Pauline, that kind of idea, playing into that trope. And so you chase after her, but you're underground and she's above you. And because she's kind of like escaped a little bit, and she keeps like flipping these levers and switches to help you get to her. And so there's like, she flips a switch, a drawbridge drops down, you cross the drawbridge, you go all the way there. So you get to the very end of the level, and then it's like at her house. And you go up to like save her, and she's asleep in the bed, and you're standing there, you like go to her balcony, you look at her, and then you realize, oh, this whole time I've been creating this story, but she doesn't want me. I'm this like peeping Tom voyeuristic guy standing at her window watching her sleep. And you realize that because there's nothing to do at that point. You just like run around, jump around in that little like, single screen. And you're like, the only thing I can do is hold the rewind button. And then once you hold the rewind button, it plays back that entire level perfectly backwards. And the whole context shifts from you start out as this voyeuristic guy staring at her sleep, you're like obsessed over her, and she's trying to run away from you. And so as you're going backwards through all these things, she's like flipping a switch to stop you from getting to her. She's like trying to raise the drawbridge, but she's just too late over and over and over. And then it gets to the end, and that knight in shining armor comes in, and the dialogue in reverse is she's like, help, help, help. And he's like, I've got you. And then like takes her away from you. And you're left there with your regrets. And that's it. And it was this like, I had a very similar like, what? The ever-living crap just happened to me. And it like absolutely shaped my desire to work in games. And made me want to be a game designer specifically because of how they use the game mechanics to like gut punch me so hard. And that was my moment of realizing like you can rewrite your past, you can relive those loops over and over and over and over, and it does no good for you to pretend the past was different than it actually was. You have to be so brutally honest with yourself and move on and stop rewinding time, stop thinking about it, stop worrying about it. It's like, honestly, that is what repentance is. That's what Christ offers people, is like, forgive and forget and move on with your dang life. Because, like, you messed up here, and the promise is that if you change your ways now, that won't matter in the eternities. Like, that's the promise of repentance. And so I think I understand where you're coming from, that you learned life lessons from this movie. I just didn't learn them from this one.
No, that's totally fine. So I want to rewind just for a second. So you asked Ren, what do you think pretentiousness is? And I want to know your answers, because I think, so for me, like asking me, what do you think pretentiousness is? Pretentiousness would be if this film was put out without the rules. Then I would find this film pretentious. Because it feels very like, so for me, it'd be like, hey, I made this film, watch it. What, you didn't get it? Oh, okay. I guess you just,
I'm
you don't get
elite.
it.
You're not.
Exactly. That's what pretentiousness would be to me. So this film, because the rules are there, that means this film isn't pretentious to me, because the director is basically giving me a guideline saying, hey, I want you to watch this with these in mind. And whatever you get at the end is whatever you get at the end. But I'm just going to give you this little guide to help you through it.
I have no problem with adopting that. That's a good one.
That makes total sense. So that makes Christopher Nolan films pretentious, though. I just want to be clear. The way he edits his movies makes you feel dumb. Okay.
We need to watch a bunch of those.
I have to.
In that definition, I can't argue with you.
When you were talking about Braid, it just brought me back to this timeline of when we were roommates, and I was telling the story around the campfire the other night. Scott, but I think one of the, like, we've always got along, but I think one of our turning points in our relationship, I can't remember why, but we were kind of like butting heads. Probably I was like asking for like money for like the water bill or something. And it just kind of got kind of tense about something. I might not be remembering. This was a long time ago. But I remember it was just kind of like, we were just kind of annoyed with each other. And you're like, oh yeah, well I've... Okay,
oh boy.
We just looked at me and you were just like, oh yeah, well I've had sex with your sister. I was like... All right, I get it. All right, I'll wait for you to pay me whatever you need. It's all good. But it was one of those times I was like, I'm not mad about it. That was hilarious. And to this day, I don't have a comeback.
I remember that, and I have thought about that. It's like, that was the dumbest, weirdest thing to say to somebody ever.
No, it was hilarious. It was a turning point in our relationship. It was awesome.
That is the most power play moment I've ever heard in my life.
But like, they were married at the time, so it was so funny because I'm just like, yeah, I assume
that's true.
I think I knew that. I mean, but yeah. Thanks for bringing up Braid again.
Thanks for bringing up one of my most embarrassing moments.
And now it's forever in the annals of history.
In the annals of history.
Yeah. My favorite story.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, can I tell another story about Scott? So one of like the funniest things that has ever happened to me in my entire life was happened on Christmas morning. And we were all sitting around And I'm like, dude, like sometimes, like some years I'm like, don't give me anything. I don't care. Christmas is, it's a lie, whatever. So it's just marketing. And then some Christmases I'm like about to cry at every moment because you're watching everyone open their gifts. And this was one of those really emotional Christmases. It was just like magical. And one time, so we're going around, we kind of pick names, and I get a gift from Scott. And I'm really excited. It's in, a box yay big. I don't know, my mind's racing. I'm wondering what this gift could be. I'm really excited. It's Christmas. And I open it up, and it looks almost empty. I look down, and there's a picture of himself in this box that he took the time to gift wrap. And I started cracking up laughing, and I was like, oh, that's funny. I was like, wait, that's really it? That's really the gift? And you're like, yeah. I like started laughing even harder. And it was, to this day, it was like the funniest thing that's ever happened to me. Because I was embarrassed that I was like wanting an actual gift. But I didn't know that you gave me the greatest gift of all time, and it was really funny.
Which is you, Scott. You are the greatest gift.
Yeah, and I think it was like your 7th grade photo or something. It was like
it was my freshman year photo.
Yeah.
I was all gawky and had like big poofy hair, and it was like, that tiny like 1 inch by 1.5 inch photo. Like it was just what I just had in my wallet.
Yeah, like I have to like put my glasses on to look at it.
Oh my gosh! I remember Paige was like, "You can't do that to me." I was like, "That's gonna make it so funny."
So confident. I love it.
You called it. That was great.
Woo! That's less embarrassing. Thank you for redeeming that.
There we go. We're back to a sense of normal now.
Yeah. All right. Back to Quantum Cowboys. Should we rate this thing? Should we rate it? Should we just do this?
Hold on. I've got one thing to say.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to get the last main thing off my chest about this. And it's about his rule about art. And I just 100% vehemently disagree with Geoff Marslett's interpretation of what the word art means in this movie. And I think that that's where everything else started falling apart. Because I went in with an expectation that what he meant... Okay, so I've been reading a lot about the ancient philosophers recently. Okay. And one of the things that's been really, really exciting to me is to see a non-religious perspective on living a good life.
Is this Stoicism?
No, it's probably closer to like Socratic or Aristotelian. Stoicism is kind of like the bordering country. I think Stoicism is great and stuff, but in this particular case, I mentioned this a couple of podcasts ago. There's a philosophy called eudaimonia, and it means essentially, that's a Greek word that essentially means flourishing, human flourishing, right? The whole purpose of life is to attain eudaimonia, this achieving some level of virtuous goodness, excellence in life, right? What that takes, and you see this in the philosophers, is basically like having strong debates about what that good life means and having definitions of that. And that's called entering into the dialectic. And what you do is you basically adopt a lifestyle, a dogma of some kind, and you just in good faith live that, and then argue with other people that the lifestyle I'm living is in fact achieving the good life, quote unquote, this virtuous, good, better life than the one we're living now. Something to achieve in greatness. I think that our current culture does not really care about achieving greatness, and I think it's part of the reason why we as a collective are slipping into a sense of nihilism, and why it's so easy to manipulate people that don't have a sense of where they're going, right? It allows for corruption, and it allows you to be cynical about corruption and stuff like that. And those things exist today. The main philosophy of today that's driving that kind of cynicism and that nihilism is heavy intelligence without a lot of wisdom. And this movie embodies a lot of intelligence without any wisdom to guide it towards any ideal, better anything. And so the end of it being like, this is all just a bunch of like scenes and it doesn't really matter. And if things don't really work out, you just kind of like go back and make a different decision, stuff like that, are entirely antithetical to an Aristotelian work towards an ideal type and explore that in any way possible. And I think the kicker of the definition of art here is that Aristotle's definition of eudaimonia is like, yes, explore eudaimonia through philosophy, through religion, through dialectic, and through art. To take something as beautiful, so the beautiful thing about art is that you can express anything with it. And this movie feels like you're just kind of just expressing anything, not something important or trying to make a case for anything. It just feels like, but did it happen or did it not? I observed it, so therefore I guess it exists. But that's not working towards anything. It's just, it happened. And great, that's like the sub-base lowest common denominator. Like, okay, empiricism. We've captured empiricism in art. And this movie, like the whole concept that it's like, well, okay, so everything is postmodern and relativistic means that it seems that Geoff Marslett's definition of art is, I used my creativity in some way. And that is, once again, the most base level of art. Like, good, you spent time learning how to draw. Now, what are you going to do with it? Good, you drew stick figures. That's fine. Or, good, you can now recreate something beautiful and realistic. Or you can rotoscope something. You can make 3D models for a video game or whatever. Those in of themselves, and this is going to ruffle people the wrong way, I know. But that in and of itself is not art to me. That is a creative endeavor that could be art if you tried. And this movie, I feel like, was an expression of physics concepts, and under a very deep philosophical lens of postmodernism. And I think postmodernism is basically like nihilistic hell. I can't stand it. And so to see art squandered for this movie really, really bothers me. And so it's a definition difference between, I expected, when he said you capture something in art, I was like, yes, art has meaning, because it's your attempt to make sense of the world, to live a better life. And I think Marslett used art to try to make sense of some difficult concepts in physics, and that's as far as he went.
My favorite part of the movie was the scene where he's like, don't worry, everyone gets sick the first time they hear rock and roll. I love that part. But yeah, I wrote down something that I just thought was interesting. I haven't really dove into it a ton yet, but it was just talking about the recording history and the importance of recording things. I was kind of leaning toward, like, is this a theme, or like, is it encouraging us to record everything? I don't really know about that, but that thought alone, the importance of recording things. And I was watching a documentary about the history of Vikings, how little we know about it. And then the things we do know are like insane. But think of all the stories that are just lost because no one recorded it. Maybe like life lessons, or like extremely like heroic tales of people who overcame just incredible things that we just don't know. They're completely lost to time. Just a random little thought, but
can I piggyback on that?
Absolutely.
I find it really interesting that everybody knows. It's like everyone that journals regularly is just like, that's like put on a pedestal, right? And I think that's really interesting because everyone that journals goes through a time period where they're like, no one's going to read this. This is just random crap that happened in my life, and my life's messy or whatever. But like, if I had the opportunity to read my dad's or my grandpa's or my grandma's journal, I would kill for that opportunity. But my grandparents didn't write journals. It's like, your journaling isn't for you. And similar to this movie, this concept, like your life experiences that you write down, they're not for you. I mean, they're for you in the moment because they help you process stuff and all the handwriting and crap like that. But like, they're really important to your progeny.
I wouldn't say I'm a very consistent journal reader, but when I have moments where I'm like, I should write some of this down. And so I have a stack of journals that I've written throughout my life, but I definitely have had moments where I've written something down and I'm like, wait, what if somebody reads this? And then I write it in a way that's like, hey, just so you know, I'm not like crazy. Like this is just me expressing my feelings and blah blah blah, blah or something like that. Like I've literally written to people in the future just to make them understand, like, hey, just so you know, like what I wrote down, it was just me expressing my thoughts. You know,
you're not crazy. I've done that too. Unless we're both crazy.
I've read through past journal entries, and like I've realized sometimes I'll use my journal as like a pump me up section of my day.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like, dude, I'm gonna kick butt today. I know I feel like crap, but blah, blah, blah. And I'm like reading this like Jock Jam's journal entry basically. And I'm just like, and I'm like, I kind of want to delete that, but I keep it.
Oh, I've I've definitely ripped out a few pages of my journal because I'm just like, I don't want to remember that, and no one else should know that either. No, yeah, just to bring it down a little bit. No, yeah, when our parents were going through the divorce, there's actually journal entries where I just wrote grief at the very top of the page.
Ooh.
And it's the most incoherent shit you've ever seen. Like it's like I definitely keep it, and I've read through it in the just in moments of life, but it's really weird to like read that and like see how my handwriting changed during those sessions of writing it out. It's super weird. It's almost like going back in time. Oh my gosh. it's like going back in time and just like I'm reading it. I'm just like, I know exactly where I was sitting. I know exactly the chair I was sitting in when I wrote that. It's interesting.
That's cool. One last note on Lily Gladstone. It's interesting hearing like they filmed this during COVID and then like production stopped, and then within her timeline, Killers of the Flower Moon was released, and then this movie was released. So I think that really gave this movie a huge spotlight on it. But without Lily Gladstone in this movie, I'm curious what would have happened to this.
That's a zebra.
Yeah,
she was my
that
favorite.
Goes down as the slimiest scene and line to me was, "That's not a horse. That's a zebra."
That's very early in the film. Yeah.
Yeah. No. I'll openly admit. Yeah. No. Definitely. There's a middle section to this film that is slow as slugs. Oh my gosh. Like you're just like, what's going on? Oh my gosh.
Ultimately, I like the movie. I think we've talked about it enough, but yeah, I'm kind of struggling with like making it matter to me. And the ending was just kind of like, oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, and I wish it would have buttoned it up a little bit better in the end, but I'm glad we watched it. It's cool. Like I said, I think it's made me think about time in a different way outside of the movie itself. So if that's a side effect from watching it, great. But yeah, I'd have to give this maybe like a 2.5, maybe 3 stars. Didn't love it, didn't hate it. It was just kind of like meh. So that's where I stand on it.
I've got feelings about this movie. Like I said, Harrison, I agree with you. I think Geoff Marslett, like he knew what he was doing. I think he captured quantum mechanics really well and the weirdness of it. I've studied quantum physics for a couple of years because it's just so bizarre. And I followed along great. Like this movie wasn't difficult for me to grasp, but then the philosophical lens through which it presents the things really bothers me, because I'm trying to raise kids that are basically the antithesis to postmodernism. And so I wish that this wasn't just like one more notch in the postmodern belt of like media. It's like, can we have something good that like purports excellence in life rather than relative everything in life? So yeah, that's where I fall.
I want to add one thing too.
If I were to rate it, it'd probably be like, I might actually have to split this one. Entertainment wise, it was higher. Like it was like a 4 or 3.5. 4
yeah.
For me. Like, I know, like the art was cool and like the concept was cool, and like the whole. We didn't even get to talk about the whole archway and like trying to make sense of the different timelines that were just like different probability clouds collapsing on each other and stuff like that. Like I find that those are all interesting things and stuff like that. Like obviously a whole lot of time and effort got put into it. And then on whether I would ever watch it again is just like, it's a 0.
Yeah.
I just kind of hated the lack of, or the promise I expected that was not delivered on.
I think at the end of the movie too, I was sort of like, oh, that's nice. I didn't get it, but I hope someone else does. So that being said, like, I love that you loved it, Harrison. Like, I love that, like, someone can get something out of it and, like, get their mind blown, because a lot of it just kind of felt over my head. But I think I got it, but I'm not quite sure if I got it.
So this movie felt kind of how I felt after watching Spider-Man No Way Home. So Spider-Man No Way Home is not a very good movie to me. Like, there's so many plot holes. There's so many conveniences. This is the one where Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, they come into Tom Holland's universe, and there's some really strong moments in it, but there's so many, like, I try not to look for plot holes, but there's so many in that movie that it's hard to ignore it. Like, it's really difficult for me to watch, to view it, not see it, or to watch it and be like, that was so convenient. Like, there's literally a machine that just makes whatever he wants. Like, it's like, come on, like, that's ridiculous. But the movie theater going experience of this film was off the chain. Like, I love going to see a movie and there's scenes where everyone in the theater stands up and they're just losing their minds. I love that experience. Like going to see Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, and when they do that final charge and everybody in the theater like raises up their fake foam swords and is like losing their minds. I'm just like, this is so cool. Like, so this movie had a kind of a similar feeling where I was watching it and I love the experience of watching the movie, but the movie itself wasn't incredible to me. It was fun. It was fun figuring out the puzzle as I watched the movie. That's what I liked about it. So overall, it's like a 2. I really wouldn't recommend this movie to anybody. I don't think I'm ever going to say like, oh, you totally need to watch Quantum Cowboys. Like, you really don't. It's okay. But if someone came up to me and asked me like, hey, what do you think about this movie? I'd be like, if you want to solve a puzzle, if you enjoy sitting down, like figuring out logic puzzles, if you're interested in things like that, then it's kind of that experience. If you want to figure out what this movie means and how it works and how to apply the rules to every single scene, if you enjoy stuff like that, go for it. But as a casual movie watcher across the world, you don't need to watch it. You can move on from it.
If you were to contact the Reddit user that recommended this one, you wouldn't be mad at him. But the one who recommended Safety Not Guaranteed,
I would definitely message him and be like, dude, come up with something better, because that was not time travel.
Do better, man.
This one, I would message him and be like, hey, I really appreciate your recommendation, and I'm glad I watched it. That's what I would say. Yeah.
All right. So you don't feel scammed by this one?
No, not at all. No. Because the thing is this is a movie you would never come across this film. Like, there's nothing drawing you to this film to run into it accidentally. This is a movie that you almost have to be recommended to watch it. At least the way I see it.
The architect is basically like, well, that's a choice to watch that movie. Okay.
Exactly.
Pretty much.
So yeah, I feel like this is a movie that has to be recommended. I'm not going to be one who recommends it, but
I agree with that.
Like, if I see a Reddit thread, someone's like, hey, I'm looking for, really off the beat indie time travel movies, I'll probably
especially
put this one
ones
down.
that have like 12 different art styles.
Exactly. Then I'll put it down. But if someone posts up and is like, hey, I'm just looking for a fun time travel romp, like, this isn't going to be the first one I think of. Frequency.
It has to be specific. Like, I want to get super baked and watch time travel. You'd be like,
exactly.
Quantum Cowboys.
Quantum Cowboys.
Boy, do I have the most perfect recommendation for you, dear sir.
Pretty much.
Oh boy. I've been waiting for this moment my whole life.
All right. Well, we've over philosophized this film as much as anyone possibly could.
Most definitely. Right, my armchair is definitely worn out.
So, coming up, we've got the drawing for our next movies.
Yes, we do. Stay tuned. Enjoy.
Therefore, the television screen is part of the physical structure of the brain. Therefore, whatever appears on the television screen emerges as raw experience for those who watch it. Therefore, television is reality, and reality is less than television.
All right. It seems very intimate. I mean, I'm usually sitting right next to you alone anyways, but Harrison isn't here to observe, so. For those curious, we're in a garage right now. We're at a family reunion in Manzanita, Oregon, and we found some time to slip away and hide from our children. Mostly our wives, but our children. And we're here to do the Cinema Slime 5 movie drawing, and I feel like a crack addict. I'm like licking my lips, wondering what our next month of movie viewing is going to look like, so I'm excited for this. All right, for those who are just tuning in, me, Harrison, and Scott have our own Cinema Slime 5 lists. These are top candidates for movies, and the category that we selected on our last episode was...
I'm sorry. I'm trying to see if this app's going to work.
Childhood trauma. Harrison's not here to kind of expound on some of his trauma and why he picked some of these movies, but we can fill in the blanks, so it'll be fun.
Yeah, so Ren, let's start with your list.
I would love to.
So let's see. I'm going to read them off, and you tell me about them, all right?
Okay.
So, The Ring.
Next question. I saw in the movie theaters my first PG-13 movie, my first horror film, and it destroyed me. And I have a really good feeling we're going to pick that one, so I don't want to say anything else.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Yeah. Christopher Lloyd gave me nightmares. I share this trauma with my cousin Calvin, so I'm excited to talk about that too.
I'm excited to find out in the comments how many people also were traumatized by sword eyeballs.
Yeah.
Jaws.
It's just a banger. Okay, just all I'll say about that movie right now is I've been really wanting to rewatch it because of the 50th year anniversary, and I remember going behind my parents' back and playing this on VHS in my room all alone. And I won't talk about it now, but there's one scene, I basically peed my pants. Okay, what's the next one?
E.T. This is the one I don't get. Why E.T.?
Okay, there's one scene in the beginning where he's in the corn, and I literally ran out of the room, and I think I was 4 or 5.
Nice.
So that had to go on the list. That's one of my earliest truly fear-induced film viewings.
Great. And the last one, The Sixth Sense.
Yeah. The crib scene. That's all I'll say. I remember watching that in the living room with my family up in Othello, Washington. And it had to go on the list. And I was really happy to know that you had kind of overlooked it for your list, so I'm glad that one of us got it.
Yeah.
And it's just a good movie. Honestly, we're going to go through all of our lists, but my list is really good. We should have people vote on whose list is the best, but...
I can't believe how many good movies there are. Every time we do this, I'm like, we're only going to pick 4 out of these 15, and I'm like, I want to watch all of them.
So usually we pick one from each and then we vote. So I guess we're going to get 3 votes because Harrison's not here.
Sounds good.
Perfect.
I mean, we could try and get him texted in here or something like that. I don't
know.
No. Okay. He won't know.
No, to be fair, I will text him. I'll give him a chance.
All right. Yeah. So my list. So the childhood trauma category was the one that I picked, and this is what I imagined childhood trauma movies were going to be like. When we get to Harrison's list,
yeah,
they're not very Halloween-y.
I gotta say, yeah, this was eye-opening for me because I think obviously, we're talking about trauma with a lowercase t, but
childhood.
Yeah, childhood trauma.
6-year-olds watching it kind of trauma.
Yeah, and looking at your list made me realize how big of a pussy I am. Because I didn't watch, like I said, I didn't see The Ring till I was 13. But anyways, your list is pretty awesome.
Yeah, so top of the list, Nightmare on Elm Street. So this movie is just really weird. And it still freaks me out enough that I've never watched it as an adult.
I haven't seen it.
Every single one of these on my list, I've actively avoided watching again because they scared me so much as a kid. I've either watched the whole movie and was so scared that I just ran away in my head and repressed memories, or I saw a little bit of it, was so scared that I ran away and I've never picked it up because it was so scary in that moment. Yeah, the next is the sequel to The Wizard of Oz, The Return to Oz. Ugh.
My wife was really happy you put this on your list. She hates this movie.
Yeah. I have such visceral memories of some of the costume choices and stuff. The Shining.
That's one of my votes. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah. And I gotta say, like, I'm kind of embarrassed that I've never watched The Shining because it's The Shining, but I'm just so scared of it. Because when I was like 10, I was at a sleepover at a friend's house, and it was like late night TV show that came on. We're like, what's this? It was like the opening, like pan, like helicopter shot. And then like, anyway, I'm not going to spoil it here because if it shows up, like, it just very dramatically shifts tone. And both of us like immediately turned off the TV, and we thought like the devil was gonna come eat us. Like, it was so scary.
Wait, have you seen Room 237, or do you know about it?
No. I mean, okay. I know of it. I similarly have not watched it.
We might have to do if The Shining gets picked, I'm gonna put a strong vote towards like bonus episode of Room 237.
Right.
Because it will add so much depth to everything. And it'll make the movie better, in my opinion. But anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, then The Fly. This is the Jeff Goldblum The Fly. I don't know if I need to say anything about that. Like, obviously, this messed with a like little kid's sense of security.
Yeah.
And then the last one is the movie adaptation, the like 90s or 80s movie adaptation of Roald Dahl's Witches.
I gotta look this up. I forgot that was on your list, and I don't even know what. Is this with Bruce Willis or who?
No.
Okay, I'm thinking of something else.
It's similar to Return to Oz. Like, it's got that visceral feeling.
Angelica Houston. Okay, I got you. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Harrison's list.
Okay, Harrison's list. Some of these are so funny. Batman Returns.
That one makes sense to me.
Yeah, that makes sense. Wait, which one is that? Is that with? Oh yeah.
That's Penguin, the one with the penguin.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. The Mummy. I don't get that.
Also, so I mean, it's got like the little scarabs that crawl into your skin, and the guy's got his tongue cut out and stuff. Like, that kind of messed with me a little bit. But you know, I came from a different household.
So I gotta look up her name. I just remember falling in love. Speaking of Michelle Pfeiffer, but I remember falling in love with Rachel Weisz.
Oh yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's hot. Okay, 3. All Dogs Go to Heaven. I think this is just Harrison's. He's just like Don Bluth. I gotta get a Don Bluth film. Yeah, I think that All Dogs Go to Heaven is just traumatic because of the style. 4, Brave Little Toaster. Okay, I'm trying to think of.
I just love that this movie's on this list because it's such a juxtaposition to like The Fly or The Ring.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he literally took childhood trauma like to heart, and like they're just these formative like images that you see in film.
Core memories.
Yeah, and then you start looking around at all your house appliances, and you're like, whoa, that thing does look kind of angry. And then number 5 is Fox and the Hound. Actually, I rewatched this recently with my boys, and my boy is going through like everything foxes he loves. It's hilarious and adorable. And anyways, the ending's great. He loved it.
They're the best of friends.
Yeah. It was so funny at the end. I was like, oh, this is so sad. He's like, why? Does the fox die? I was like, I can't tell you the ending, dude. He's like, does he die? Does he die? And he like kept asking me. Anyways.
Wait, does he?
I can't tell you.
I'm just spoiler alert.
Yeah, I can't. All right. So there's the pool. So we're gonna pick one from each list. Who do we do normally?
I don't know that it matters.
Okay.
I actually. Let's see.
Can we do mine first?
The Ring.
Yes! All right. Perfect. Okay, here, let me write it down. In
Can't lose track of this. Dude, I haven't seen this movie in forever.
Yeah, honestly. That's one, it was originally on my list.
Halloween.
And I took it off so I could put The Shining on. And I'm glad you put it on, because I kind of wanted to watch it too. All right, let's do Harrison. Fox and the Hound.
Okay.
All right. And then...
I gotta say, I think that movie is older than I realized.
What, Fox and the
I
Hound?
thought that came out when I was a kid, but I think it's like early 80s.
And the answer is... Return to Oz. Oh, this is an uncomfortable month.
And for our fourth, we're doing votes.
So what are your three?
The Shining is one of my votes.
Okay.
My second vote goes to The Fly. My third is going to be a vote for Jaws.
Yeah, I'm going to do Nightmare on Elm Street, Witches, and Batman Returns.
Nice.
Batman Returns.
Batman Returns.
All right. Well, that's it, folks.
Beautiful. Well, stay tuned. Get your movie viewing experiences in line and follow us and watch with us. And this movie's going to be awesome. And these are all sort of Halloween themed.
Peace and loves, y'all.
Peace and love. Thanks for listening. Adios. Like and subscribe. Give us your money.
That's a wrap on another episode of Cinema Slime. We hope you enjoyed it. This episode was a production by your hosts, Harrison Jensen, Ren Jensen, and Scott Shepard. Harrison handles the mixing, editing, and production, and Ren, that's me, takes care of the art and design. Want to join the conversation? Let's connect. Find us on Discord for film discussions, movie recommendations, and everything cinema. Be sure to subscribe and leave a comment, and you can also connect with us on social media and show your support on Buy Me a Coffee, and we'll give you a shout out if you'd like. All links can be found in the episode notes.